Hi, welcome back. Today I thought we would create this thing, a rainbow shard thing, a big piece of geometry with points in it that's all jaggy. We're going to do that in 2 or so steps. We're just going to create a simple geometry first with just 3 points. So we're creating a triangle. Once we're comfortable with that, we'll add a bunch more points and shuffle them all around, and then pass those to the Three.js buffer geometry. And we're going to apply a simple material that's semi-transparent and tell it to pick its color based on the position of a point. So if the point is high on the x-axis, get a lot of red. If it's high on the y-axis, get a lot of green, a lot of blue if it's high on the z-axis. And then it's going to look kind of like this. But we just kind of rotate it around in space. So let's get started. Let's start with a blank slate like this. I have a basic 3 boilerplate template here. You're probably familiar with this. If you watched any of my other videos, or if you've just done 3 development before, I'm just going to get the size of the window. I'm going to create a new scene in a camera and set the camera's aspect ratio with the window size. Move the position of the camera back a little bit, create a renderer, set the size, and boom. We're ready to add a simple box geometry. Create a mesh from that. Let's call this a mesh instead of a cube. And rotate it around in space. Wireframe is true just because it looks cool. But we're not going to use a box geometry. Instead, we're going to use something different, a buffer geometry. And a buffer geometry is going to take a basic material. So there's no points in that buffer geometry right now. I wonder if it's throwing an error. I'm not sure if it is. It doesn't appear that it is. Make this a little bit bigger. Okay, and have it over here for later. Let's push some points into this buffer geometry. So I'll say const vertices is equal to an empty array. And let's push into it vertices dot push a new vector 3. I could just push XYZ positions like 0, 0, 0 for 1 point, 0, 6, 0 for another point, and then 0, 0, 6 for the last point. What if I did that? And then I want to set the attribute for that. I'm going to say geometry dot set attribute. That's the position attribute. And it's going to be a new 3 dot what's it called? Sorry, float 32 buffer attribute vertices, and its dimension or item size is 3. Whoa, look at that. So 6 might be a little bit big. Let's make it 2 instead. So we've got a little triangle rotating around in space there. Take off the wireframe thing. And now it's not wireframe. It's also not rendering. Oh, because it needs to be double-sided. Side equals 3 dot double side. Now we see it no matter which orientation it is, whether it's facing away or facing towards us. We can also make it transparent, which when we initially set that has no effect. but then we can say opacity is 0.5, like so. And now it's a little bit darker because it's semi-transparent. Cool. That's the simplest form of our sculpture. We're just going to cram a bunch more points in there and go from there. I'm going to create a method. In fact, let's create a couple of methods. One, to just create a bunch of points, and two, to create a mesh from those points. Okay? So we're going to redo this a little bit. We don't need this sunlight in here. What I'm thinking is const points equals get points. This is a method that's just going to return an array of points. And then const thing, or art thing, I guess you could call it, is equal to get art thing. And we'll pass in the points. And then with that art thing, we're going to scene.add art thing dot mesh. And then in here, in our animate method, I want to just call the art thing update method. This art thing is going to be an object. Hang on, get art thing. Let's comment this out, all this stuff out for a second, because we're going to redo that. I guess I could just get rid of it too. It's a lot of typing though to redo all of that. This art thing, this get art thing method, which takes an array of points. It's going to return a simple object that has the mesh and the update method. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. If you wanted to run this without errors, you could say mesh equals, I guess, yeah, const mesh equals nothing, just an empty object, and function update is an empty function. Now, I'm pretty sure it's not erroring out. Oh, it is erroring out. Get points is not defined. Function get points is now defined. No, oh, there's still errors. You can't add a mesh. That's an empty mesh. I understand that. Okay. We just need to put some stuff in this get points. We could move these guys in here and return vertices. Like this. Now that's more valid. This junk can go into my art thing method. It's not really junk, is it? Let me just auto format that and add it back, add this thing back. Oh, I'm not using the points. Points. This should get us back to where we were a moment ago. Oh, the art thing rotate method. I want to rotate that, don't I? Let's do this. Mesh dot rotation plus equals 0.002. Oh, rotation dot y. Sorry. We are basically where we started, but now with some more structure in our code so that we can expand on this more. Now, instead of simply returning an array with 9 numbers in it, which represent 3 points in 3D space, we could, I'm just going to do this very quickly. const num, let's see, num points. How about that? Is that what I want to do? Num points equals 100. Const size equals, I don't know, let's say 12. And for let I to equal 0 while I is less than num points, I plus equals 1. Vertices dot push point, which we'll just call P. Let P. Is that what I want to do? Yeah, it is. X, Y, Z. Like that. Whoops. Except instead of zeros, let's say math.random times size minus size times -1. Oh, sorry, 0.5. And just paste that in all three of these guys. So now I've got a lot more points. Oops, I broke something. The position I should likely have NaN values. Size is 12 minus 12. That random. Oh, I know why. I need to deconstruct these points. Right now I'm just pushing the points right in like so. I kind of need to loop over them and then flatten it, that array. Right now it's an array of objects. It needs to just be an array of numbers. Like kind of like, how would I quickly flatten that? I don't even have to push them in like that. I could just push it in like this. Would that work? That would not work. It's still bad. I was using the ellipsis to try to flatten it, but I could just do x comma y comma z. Get rid of this. And change those commas to semicolons. Whoops. I didn't want to find. I just wanted to do this. Okay, the size is too big. Look at that. How cool is that? Just by quickly creating a bunch of random points within a given space, pushing them into this buffer geometry, we've got this cool looking sculpture in green. To get to this, I want to change the background color and then add the rainbow colors. How are we doing on time? It's been 14 minutes. Let's finish in the next 6 minutes. Let's start with changing the background color, which is super easy to do. I think it's scene dot clear color equals 0x f0 f0 f0. Does that work? It does not. Let's just cheat and look at it. Renderer set clear color. So I was totally off. Renderer dot set clear color. Okay. Oh no, it blew up because I hadn't defined the renderer yet. Sorry about that. That's better. now this pretty green thing floating in the middle there. And maybe I want it to be like a darker blue thing instead. Oops. I love the way that looks. So in order to get the colors though, let's return, our points will be comprised of 2 arrays. Is that really what I want to do? Yeah, it is. And then we'll pass in points. I don't know why I don't call that vertices instead. Just to keep it simple. These here, there, vertices and colors. Right now, colors is an empty array, but we're gonna fill it with cool stuff and use that here. Geometry.set attribute, and it's another new 3.float32 buffer attribute, but this time we're passing in colors, or just color, sorry. Oh, I did that backwards. Duh. Colors, comma 3. My bad. Set attribute color, and then comma. Let's just format that so it looks a little bit better. Does that look better to you? I wanted you to come down here, but whatever, we can read it. If I use that right now, it's totally ignored. I'm setting the color here, but if I don't and I say instead Vertex Colors is true, I think it'll be black. No, it's not black, it's just mad. It's like, dude, please. Colors dot push. Whoops. I don't know why I'm adding spaces. Push R, comma G, comma B. We just want to define those up here too. R, comma G, comma. I'm getting nervous and typing too fast. Let's just say R is equal to 0, G is equal to 0, and B is equal to 0. Now we have an array of colors to pass in here. Right? And let's make it a cyan color. How about math.random times? Now it's a random hue, not a random hue, a random amount of blue. A random amount of blue-green, and how about just 100% random colors? Woo! Look at that. Kind of cool looking. Not the rainbow effect we had though. To achieve that, I'm going to base, like I said, base the color on the position of the vertex. So what if I just did that? X, Y, and Z. And one last thing to kind of modulate that color is to create a const color multiplier. I'm just going to call it color mult and set it to some fractional value. And then each one of these guys here is multiplied by that color mult. Right now it's pretty muted. I could set it to 0.5. And we can get the effect that we want, like whether it's really blown out or a little bit more mellow or entirely muted. Isn't that cool? And let's just increase the size of our points. How about 3.5? There it is. Oh, let's make this anti-aliased. It might look a touch better. Anti-alias is true. Cool. The next steps you could do is like add some Three.js filters, like for example a halftone filter to give it some grain. It'd be fun to play around with that. I'm out of time, or else I would do that right now. Also, you can add the orbit control so you can look around it. You can animate it in different ways. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Have fun. Leave comments below if there's something you'd like to see, some or some advice you'd want about using Three.js. Love to hear from you. See you next time.